Thanks for joining us today. I spoke with Kadan Stadelmann, the CTO of Komodo, which is a multi-chain platform that enables developers to roll out not only their own stablecoins, but also their own blockchains. Now, most of Komodo's software is written in C++ and C, but they've also imported Rust, which is Mozilla's programming language, which Stadelmann thinks gives Komodo certain advantages, especially when it comes to things like static analysis, memory efficiency, and overall performance. They've also incorporated Rust, and Stadelmann says this new Rust layer that Komodo uses is really saving them time in developing their software. The end results as well lead to an increase in performance and efficiency. But it's not just limited Komodo to these few coding languages. Stadelmann says that the team is using most of the existing and popular coding languages and technologies, such as lesser-known programming languages like Flutter, which is a new technology provided by Google that enables developers to develop mobile applications in a very efficient way. With the aforementioned technologies, Komodo has built one code base to underpin multiple operating systems and platforms. Their cross-chain atomic swap DEX technology features a multi-coin wallet with a native DEX and is currently available for iOS and Android. Now, Komodo really tries to stay open, not when it comes to only crypto and blockchain, but even when it comes to utilizing new coding languages and new tech stacks. Komodo has really tried to keep evolving and continuously improving and optimizing not just their applications, but even the underlying tech stack that the project utilizes. Komodo recently rolled out a new feature module enabling anyone to create their own stablecoin in just a few clicks or commands. The stablecoins are collateralized with Bitcoin protocol-based cryptocurrencies. While the stablecoin module is one module of many others on the Komodo blockchain, Stadelmann believes it is a key piece of the Komodo architecture. These stablecoins link to the traditional fiat world into the traditional financial system. As Stadelmann says, we believe the next step is getting the stablecoin tech actively used and adopted in an atomic DEX. And to be fair, this is not limited to our next technology. It also includes any other DEX and any other blockchain project which can utilize this tech to get their stablecoin out. Now, to a certain degree, coding in C++ made the implementation of such stablecoins easier to roll out when it came to Komodo. As Stadelmann says, quote, "At the end of the day, this experience allows us to design this technology and the architecture of such a stablecoin module in an efficient way. Anyone can create a chain of their own blockchain, called a smart chain, on Komodo, with the help of dozens of modules which have been designed by the team. For instance, the PEX-CC module is a stablecoin module, for instance, and CC stands for crypto conditions. While some stablecoins have a centralized component, Komodo is decentralized. As Stadelmann says, quote, "Let's say you wouldn't want to rely on these already existing stablecoins for various reasons. One of these reasons is the lack of transparency. We do not know if specific stablecoins are backed by what the proprietors claim they're backed by. Most of these layers, DEXs, trading platforms, etc., still operate more or less as if in the wild, wild west." Komodo also provides modules to enable sell data on the blockchain and to spin up a lottery system for users in a decentralized blockchain-based fashion. Quote, "We even have a module," says Stadelmann, which is called Tokens and Assets module, which would allow you or any user to tokenize whatever you want to tokenize. The smart chains are 100% independent and don't rely on their Komodo parent chain as such, unlike other platforms, in which children apps are reliant on the parent. In such scenarios, third parties that build dApps are at risk if that parent chain fails. They'd have to then migrate to another chain, said Stadelmann. With Komodo, you really get a fully independent standalone blockchain. Other than inheriting all of Komodo's features and technologies, there isn't any other relation to the Komodo mother chain. So if for whatever reason Komodo disappears, your smart chain would remain unaffected. Smart chains composed atop Komodo are fully customizable and not limited to only the feature sets novel to Komodo. As Stadelmann says, quote, "Our tech layer would allow you to basically implement any new logic into your smart chain. So you could literally implement your own consensus rule implemented in a simple manner." This is a Komodo smart contract technology, and it's called, as above mentioned, a CC or crypto conditions. In the past, developers had to hard fork their chain to add new consensus rules. as Stadelmann says. Otherwise, all network participants, all nodes, would have to run the same new consensus code base to be on the same chain. What Komodo did is basically implement this tech in order to not require a hard fork to implement such new functionalities to basically integrate and run and execute new smart contracts without the need to roll out a mandatory upgrade. With so many on the team coming from the security side of things, the Komodo team has always challenged themselves to make Komodo-based chains as secure as possible. Komodo decided to apply the consensus algorithm delayed proof of work. As Stadelmann defines, it is a native element of the Komodo core. And Komodo would basically take the Komodo blockchain information as well as all Komodo-based blockchain info that utilizes this technology and store it into the Bitcoin blockchain, basically storing a small backup, a small checkpoint into the Bitcoin blockchain. Komodo then uses this checkpoint in the Bitcoin blockchain to validate the old chain. If at some point of time a malicious actor decides to attack the Komodo blockchain, they would have to first attack the Bitcoin blockchain and take the Bitcoin blockchain over. As Stadelmann says, once that is achieved, he'd be able, the attacker, to attack the Komodo blockchain because it's then relying on Bitcoin. From a technical perspective, this is not possible, but from a practical perspective, it's pretty much impossible and would require immense resources to achieve this. So it would probably require government, national level resources to achieve such a thing. Komodo also features a multi-chain architecture. Blockchains always come with limitations, says Stadelmann. All blockchains come with limitations in transactions per second and the maximum block size and so on. So we gave the Komodo platform the ability to spin up parallel chains, side chains, which would literally interoperate with the base chain. Let's say you created a chain X and chain X reached its limit due to so many transactions taking place thereupon, blocks being overfilled and the fees going crazy. How would Komodo then scale this, or how could this be scaled on Komodo? Now, Komodo has solved this by generating a second chain, which is part of a cluster. As Stadelmann says, the cluster is formed with the main chain and the side chain. So we have a scaling protocol that would allow you to literally send coins from chain A to chain B. At that moment, they will literally be burned from chain A and reissued then on chain B, the second chain. This cross-chain burning protocol will allow you to remain fully in sync and would also mean that you have technically two chains. That means 2 times the limit, 2 times the underlying infrastructure, 2 times the block sizes, and so on. As Stadelmann says, this is something that scales up infinitely. We could literally set up 1,000 side chains. That was how we achieved 1 million transactions per second. We conducted an experiment to prove that Komodo scales efficiently and easily. That's something we did last year, they say. Komodo runs in a dual daemon environment in order to make the multi-blockchain environment possible. Quote, you'd basically have the Komodo core operate in your block on your environment, similar to if you were running Bitcoin. And at the same time, you'd be running a completely different chain. For example, in Litecoin. You will have a specific interface to allow 2 daemons, these 2 chains, to communicate with each other and to issue transactions between them. Stadelmann says the potential for blockchains and stablecoins in general is very considerable. Quote, you could literally have an inventory of your sneaker store, or if you're such an exclusive sneaker trader, you could have all your sneakers represent a specific token or non-fungible token. A token then could represent your sneaker. For this example, Stadelmann calls it sneaker coin. It's technically possible, he says. Quote, there are other things you would have to think about afterward. How do I enforce that this token is really worth a sneaker, for example? We will likely need some sort of a decentralized trustless storage space where you could have these specific sneakers in one box per pair, which is locked as soon as the sneaker token for that sneaker is issued. You would have to first burn this token in order to release the secret, but that goes deep into the physical layer already, he says. The Komodo network uses Bitcoin security through this delayed proof of work technology. Komodo's block time confirmation takes place just like Bitcoin's every 10 minutes. As Stadelmann says, on every Bitcoin block, we store blockchain information. Komodo, whose protocol is Bitcoin-based, the code is based on Bitcoin, enables developers to build on top of Bitcoin-based protocols. Quote, it doesn't necessarily mean that a Bitcoin protocol-based chain is really based on the Bitcoin code base. Sometimes someone would just go ahead and fork Litecoin or fork a Dash or fork Komodo itself. Most of the blockchains in existence today are Bitcoin-based blockchains, he says, and even most of the second and third generation blockchains too. Now, specifically, Komodo forked Zcash code base, which is a Bitcoin-based protocol. Quote, we identified with their basic vision regarding security, privacy, etc. There were a few things that we didn't necessarily like, he says. We basically removed that stuff and added the bits that we did want to have. The interoperability, the smart chain platform, etc. That's all Komodo specific tech. That stuff we had basically added on top of the Zcash core. And that Zcash core itself was like a pure fork and clone off of Bitcoin, means in his view that they are essentially a fork thereof of Bitcoin. Zcash had done the same thing. They forked Bitcoin and added whatever they wanted to add, including a new algorithm, their privacy technology, a mining scheme that funds the project. In short, while there are a lot of similarities between Komodo, Bitcoin, and Zcash, there are also a lot of differences. Pretty much all blockchains, as said, are based on Bitcoin, even if it's only philosophically so. And the same applies for all the other blockchains that are around. Let's take, for example, blockchains that have implemented different protocols. Some might have an Ethereum layer, for instance. Quote, they're based off a chain based on the Bitcoin protocol, and it also shows that this tech doesn't have any real limitations. The vision, the base idea, it's pretty much all the same. Stadelmann touts Bitcoin's huge community as one advantage, noting that the team behind Komodo have long been captivated by the Bitcoin protocol and blockchain. He mentions Bitcoin's huge base of application and text libraries that are compatible with that code base. Like Zcash, Komodo provides some privacy for those who need it. Many enterprises have lamented blockchain's transparency, at least in the Bitcoin implementation, because thereupon Bitcoin, makes certain data transparent. However, there's a lot of other reasons that made Bitcoin a natural choice to build atop. As Stadelmann says, quote, you could create a chain that only has shell transactions, 100% anonymity, not traceable. That was another main reason to use the Bitcoin protocol and Bitcoin-based protocol fork. Now, Komodo wanted to remain fully independent. Quote, we didn't want to rely on a mother chain or a parent chain or even pay for chain creation and the chain operation itself. The Bitcoin protocol was the optimal candidate for our choice. When we look at the Atomic DEX on Komodo, which is its flagship product, it is a mobile multi-wallet with the native DEX, that is decentralized exchange. As Stadelmann says, quote, it's fully decentralized, 100% blockchain-based. Atomic DEX is Komodo's third generation atomic swap exchange. It's a decentralized exchange, and we certainly do see the possibility to spin up new stablecoins based on different fiat, gold, or any sort of other backing value, and have them placed on the DEX. Stadelmann's interest seemed particularly piqued by a gold-backed stablecoin. Quote, a specific amount of tokens would represent a specific amount of gold, he ideates. Quote, that would allow us to use gold or any metals as a backing for these stablecoins. But on the other hand, he says, we know there are decentralized blockchain-based derivatives, so we could also have like stocks or a company backed stablecoin. The stablecoins could bring in liquidity, he says. Quote, you have a fiat-based evaluation of liquidity in the DEX network. Komodo started the DEX implementation in late 2013 and early 2014. The Binance Academy gave credit to Komodo and to James Lee, Komodo's founder, for issuing the first fully automated cross-channel atomic swap. The Komodo team has over half a decade of experience in DEX development, says Stadelmann. Quote, we started on the DEX years ago, noting that it's recently been refactored. Quote, we rewrote the whole DEX technology. Komodo's second generation DEX is even capable of carrying out initial coin offerings. Around 2 years ago, Komodo noticed a huge shift among internet users from desktop and server environments to mobile environments and devices. Quote, nowadays we do see global internet access taking place over 60% from mobile and other devices. In order to make their DEX technology as robust as possible, Komodo wanted to rethink their tech layer based on the move to mobile. They ported the technology into a completely new stack from C to Rust, targeting mobile device users. Not just smartphones and tablets, but this also included IoT devices and wearables, even like smartwatches and smart glasses. Komodo launched its public layer beta last year, and they're looking to go live at the end of 2020. They considered the tech production ready, but in order to really prove it with long ongoing wildfire tests, the team decided to have at least a 1-year ongoing beta program. Komodo's DEX technology is publicly available in the Android Play Store and in an iOS test flight program. Stadelmann says other DEX technologies and platforms are sort of experimental or even in a pre-alpha stage, while many others have failed. There aren't any public betas ongoing, nor is there a public available DEX. He says Komodo is to date the only provider for this type of tech. Quote, compared with all the other technologies, apps, and dEPs that we provide, I personally think that the Atomic DEX and our DEX multi-coin wallet is the market leader when it comes to the DEX market and how solid and stable the technology is. Now, Komodo wants to leave the beta program to officially classify the DEX as production ready by year's end, as stated. Quote, we are also spinning up various liquidity boosting tools and features into that ecosystem. Komodo also contracted a highly trusted and well-known security firm to review all of its applications, dApps, features, and technologies so developers can know to trust Komodo. Quote, many projects or parties that consider creating a chain still are very insecure when it comes to the security of the technology, what to use, etc. Simply expressed, many projects don't know what to do or what to use or what's best right now. The ongoing review will help show the industry that Komodo is close to having production-ready systems and then the technologies and applications the project has out now and that are on their roadmap will exit the beta. Komodo technology is dynamic and flexible. Stadelmann says the Komodo technology is designed to be so flexible that huge investment from hedge funds or trading firms is possible. Quote, in a matter of time, we'll have a decentralized government, and once this happens, Komodo will be able to quickly adapt the technology to add additional enterprise features, and Komodo will be able to improve, extend, and optimize. The use cases are likely as limitless and as endless as the technology of blockchain itself, Stadelmann said. Quote, we always try to solve very complex problems, and you'd have to literally first understand the complexity of those problems in order to understand the solution and the potential use cases of those solutions. So in short, one will be able to create their own stablecoin with just a few clicks or commands on the Komodo protocol. What if you could launch your own stablecoin with just a few clicks or commands? Might you be interested? At any rate, this multi-chain blockchain platform that makes composable smart chains possible is seeking to enable third parties to create their own customizable blockchains. Now, these are called Komodo smart chains. The platform Komodo recently released new beta features to their testnet that would enable the creation of stablecoins collateralized with Bitcoin protocol-based cryptocurrencies. The team themselves call Komodo a composable platform because users can compose their own blockchain, which is completely independent of Komodo, via its Antera framework. These blockchains can be notarized to the Bitcoin network, which is good for security, and they're customizable through Komodo's modules. The platform has enabled anyone with some coding experience to create their own Bitcoin protocol-based cryptocurrencies using this Antera composer, which is a web application for actually creating your own blockchain. There's a prices and pegs feature, as stated, which is currently being trialed in alpha and will soon make it possible to create stablecoins and cryptocurrencies pegged to assets like stocks and commodities. The prices module will track the price of an asset in the real world, providing metadata to the Komodo smart chain. The pegs module has been designed by the Komodo team to make use of that metadata for the blockchain's purposes. Anyone could then lock Bitcoin protocol-based funds to the pegs module and then withdraw up to 90% of the fund's value in stablecoin form, which can then be exchanged for other assets with other people on the stablecoin network through an atomic swap, a smart contract technology enabling people to exchange cryptocurrency for another without centralized intermediaries such as exchanges. All stablecoins deployed on Komodo Smart Chain can be listed on the native Atomic DEX or decentralized exchange. To quote Kadan, if you wanted to create a chain, you could do that right now alone at your computer without any external support, without any funds, without anything. And you can just spin up your own blockchain. This blockchain would literally inherit all of Komodo's technologies and features. Every wallet, every dApp, every system that we brought out for Komodo would be automatically compatible with your smart chain. Komodo's stablecoin functionality could allow anyone to create a stablecoin backed by Bitcoin, Komodo's native cryptocurrency, KMD, as well as others, and then anchor it to the Bitcoin's network for security. Anyone can spin up and use a smart chain of stablecoins, says Stadelmann, who, as above mentioned, is specialized in programming language C++ and is a proponent today of Rust, which is created by Mozilla. Now, the process behind creating your own stablecoin on a Komodo smart chain will be blockchain-based and decentralized. Quote, there is full transparency. The biggest problem with certain stablecoins is the lack of transparency. We believe that our technology and the way that we implemented the stablecoin module provides 100% transparency. Komodo, which is based on a fork of the Bitcoin technology called Zcash, is in talks with partners in finance who are interested in their ability to easily and securely create their own stablecoins. As Stadelmann says, quote, this feature would allow financial firms and investment firms to spin up a stablecoin within minutes, so you literally have a stablecoin for specific projects, for specific use cases, for specific products, and for specific trading engines. Third parties who issue stablecoins on Komodo can choose the amount they wish to issue as well as other parameters. Quote, if a third party wants to spin up a chain on Komodo, this feature will literally enable them to create a stablecoin. Now, there are several reasons one might want to do so. For instance, if a project needed to manage its crypto funds. Quote, take a part of your project funds that you have in crypto and transfer it over into a stablecoin, says Stadelmann. Let's say I want to pay salaries to my team, says Kadan. This stablecoin will allow me to be much more precise in doing so. With a stablecoin, there's no need to rely on volatile crypto prices. Now, the Komodo chain will take the information from a stablecoin chain spun up by a third party and store it on the Komodo blockchain. Quote, we then take the Komodo block, which already contains your stablecoin information, and store it into the Bitcoin blockchain. Technically speaking, it even gives you a slightly higher security level than Komodo itself, because if a hacker really wanted to attack your stablecoin chain, he would have to first attack Bitcoin. Afterwards, he'd have to hack Komodo, and only then would he be able to then hack your stablecoin. Stadelmann doesn't see a limit as to what can be done with blockchain and stablecoin technology, as stated. Quote, if you are from the fintech sector, you basically build up a derivative trading platform if you wanted in a decentralized fashion. Blockchain tech is melding with the traditional financial sector. Everything that we see, all these tools, all these financial products in the traditional financial markets can somehow be attached to the blockchain world. And stablecoins are helping to make blockchain mainstream, according to Stadelmann. People now realize that this is money that we are talking about. Most centralized exchanges didn't have any fiat relation 1 to 2 years ago. When you log into an exchange, you'd have all these crypto pairs. Someone who is not into this space, not into this stack, would just see BTC KMD pair or LTC ETH pair and not know what in the world that was. But now we have these stablecoin pairs, and it gives people that weren't in the space a feeling that this is real money. There are USD pairs now. It's stuff that just hasn't happened until now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.